Just taking my dog for an evening walk on the beach. I'm lucky enough to live by the coast, so I can enjoy beach walks with my dog. I actually moved here from London to try and get off of cocaine, but yeah, needless to say, it did not work. I was thinking about one of the techniques I use to kind of combat cravings, and I thought it'd be a nice one to share. I think it's quite widely known within kind of recovery communities, but maybe people that are still kind of in the throes of their addiction, struggling with things, might find this useful. The technique is I've called it the fast forward technique, or I've also heard it kind of referred to as watch the whole film, not just the trailer. And the idea is that when you're thinking of if you're thinking of contacting your dealer, don't just think about that moment where you take the first line, or whatever your substance is, you get that first hit. Kind of fast forward through, play the whole movie through, and think about where you're going to end up. Are you going to be lying in bed at the end of the night, on a come down, despairing about your behaviour, filled with regret and shame and stuff like that? The idea is basically that you kind of need to change your associations. So, for me, speaking of my experience, is like when I kind of have that moment where I'm like, right, I'm going to call my dealer. And these are even in times where, I'd had periods of clean and my family knew about it and stuff like that. I would still be like, that craving would arrive. I'd be really wanting to take coke, but I'd have that internal battle in my head where I was like, I want to take coke, but fuck, I'm trying to get clean. And then you kind of go back and forth with yourself. But what you tend to do when you're in addiction is you think about that first line, you think about calling the dealer, meeting the dealer, doing the first line, and that's all very exciting, and it kind of floods your brain with dopamine. But the issue is that you get that initial buzz maybe from the first line, the first kind of moment. And my dog just rolled in some smelly stuff. Ernie, come here. You think about that first line, that first moment, and you fixate on that, and that's kind of what convinces you to make the call, pick up the coke, sit, do your little, well, at least for me, do my little routine of sitting in by myself, feeling miserable, feeling suicidal, stuff like that. And what's really helped for me is when you get those cravings and you find yourself thinking, oh, that one line would be really lovely. Don't focus on that. Move your mind straight away and think of that feeling when the coke's run out and you're filled with regret and you're filled with shame, you're filled with, guilt about, oh fuck, I've let everyone down, I've failed again, I've kind of let it slip again, this kind of stuff. And if you do that enough times, it starts to work. You start to kind of, you stop. At least for me, again, it's always, I can only speak from my experience. It's like I attach now. Whenever I get a craving, I think about the bad side of my addiction. I don't think about that first up or that first high, that first kind of feeling of euphoria, that feeling of when the dopamine hits. I play the movie through. I don't just watch the trailer. I think of the effects it has on my health, the effects it has on my family, my loved ones, my bank balance, all these things, and that really works. It's maybe not a long-term fix, but if you're sort of in that period where you're kind of wanting to get clean but you're struggling to really find the tools to do it, I think this is a really good tool to try and implement and to see how it works.